Test. Yellow bar. Yep. Volume's good. Go up a little bit, actually. 11.2. Yellow bar. Yellow bar. Alright, peeking into red. Turn it down a little bit. Yellow bar. That's kind of right. Okay. Alright. Fellas, welcome in. Sorry, I was just getting everything set up. Sergio's going to be a little bit late because he just woke up from a little nap. So, just got me for the lobby hijinks. I don't know if my camera's like a little bit too far back. That's alright. Hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, listen, Mexico today. Great track. I think I liked Australia. People were kind of like bagging on Australia, but thought it was a good race last week. However, tonight could be interesting. People's FIFA commitments have seemingly ran over. So, are we going to have maybe some of those kind of household names, or are we not? I think definitely an opportunity of a lifetime, especially for someone like Vera Kieran, coming off of a great win last week. We're looking to double up on that. Not a sprint. Usual kind of standard practice where we're going to have the qualification and then the race. You can see in the bottom left, 36 laps here tonight. And while I'm doing all this as well, I can also move this up because I know you guys watching the F1 like my camera to be kind of up here. So you can see like the race map and stuff. So we're in the top right there. So yeah, Sergio will be with us pretty much whenever he's set. I'm peeking into red again. Sorry, I don't want to scream into your ears, but hopefully it's not too bad. And yeah, we're just kind of sitting up and waiting. It's kind of rare for me to be on time as well. The last couple of weeks I've had to connect. Like, anyone that knows what my setup is here, like, my laptop is on like a little desk in this room because this is where the Xbox is and where the bed is and stuff. So it's smaller than the office. And I've got like a capture card. So I have to connect the capture card, the camera, and the mic in the correct order, like in a set way, in the correct port. If I put the capture card in the wrong port, I get no picture. I put the camera in the wrong port, it won't turn on. I put the microphone in the wrong port, it won't pick up any audio. So finally, I've got the lucky combination for once, and I've been ready here for the last 15 minutes. So I may be the greatest of all time and the best to ever do it, finally. So yeah, it's one of them. So yep. Yep. We'll see. So Sergio saying he's a little bit tired. Sergio, I mean, we love having Sergio on the comms, obviously. He is colour commentator number 1, analyst number 1. But if the guys, I don't want to be like, yeah, man, you've got to come on and you've got to do it. So Sergio's feeling a little bit tired and he's had a long day at work. I'm not going to force him to come on and do comms with us. I want him to be here, but again, you know, everyone gets a little bit shattered, a little bit knackered. So maybe we'll have Sergio with us tonight. If not, you've at least got me to any consolation that is. For now, you can just see everyone's lobbying up, everyone's getting ready. And we should be good to go shortly. Of course, qualifying as well. I'm going to be around about 18 to 20 minutes. So those FIFA guys on the background or in the background are going to be pretty happy to see that we're still only lobbying up. But, yep, should be a fun one tonight indeed. We're going to talk about all the standings and the results from last week as well. So don't you worry. We got you covered on that during the qualification. Of course, as well, if anyone is on Xbox and wants to pop in for a quali interview or a pre-race interview or want to talk about the race tonight, then just get at me. As long as you're on Xbox and able to join the party, we can get you kind of all settled and sorted. But excited to see CB46 again. Excited to see Kieran Chizzy's in. I mean, there's question marks on Dom Parry, is there? I think if Dom Parry isn't here, then I tell you what an opportunity it is for Kieran to go back-to-back tonight That'll be huge. Again, just joining us, you've not missed anything. We usually start at 9:30. It's 9:36. We're getting everything set up here. So the lads, the drivers are just getting lobbied up, and then we'll be going into qualification here tonight. Confirmation then, we are going to have the ever so great and ever so analytically brilliant Sergio with us. He's tired, but he's going to soldier through. We love him for that. He is such a key part of this commentary. So he carries me in regards to the knowledge gap that I have. So again, great that we're going to have him nevertheless. Lucas has just arrived as well. So far 16 in the lobby. We're getting closer and closer. Well, 15 in the lobby now. We're getting closer. Wait, is it? Does it count the people that haven't readied up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, no, 14. 14 in the lobby. Cool. All right. Well, again, we do know we're going to have a couple of late stragglers. The FIFA lot are probably going to come in mid-quali. So there is that as well. There's Hamza. Hamed. Oh, jeez, I said Hamza. Hamed on top. Sorry if I butchered the name, fella, but welcome in. Get yourself seated, get yourself sorted. We love that. Just reading the D, not DM's the general here. Oh, Sergio messaged me as well. Oh, we got the race graphic as well. Perfect. Let me whip Sergio an invite. Dom Parry is here. And the crowd goes mild. The crowd starts to boo viciously. Dom Parry says, you managed to shake me off last week. Not going to happen 2 weeks in a row. Not a chance. Not a chance. When I don't reserve my favourite tracks, when I do, it's awful. Are you in tonight, Bailey? Or do you like Mexico? Or do you hate Mexico? I don't see you. I don't know if you're on your way. So I imagine you're missing Mexico tonight and you're a fan of it. There he is. Everyone's favourite. You're the real talent there, you. Alright. Wait for him to... Oh, there he is. I'll tell you, I'm dead honest, if you're tired and shattered, man, I said this one just before you got it. I don't want to force it on you and be like, you have to come and do comms, mate. You're obviously a big part of it, but...
No, that's cool. I got this.
No, that's wonderful. Well, everyone's just kind of arriving. Louis Welch. Fucking hell, that's the bookie, man, isn't it? Christ almighty, what did... People are not going to be happy to see him. Oh, dear. Well, people were upset to see Dom Parry back after last week's miss, Sergio. To see the guy that made Chizzy and Dom Parry both look so ordinary. I mean, holy hell, that is a statement name to come in. So, yeah, the guys like CB46, who we're seeing for the first time on the grid this season, if he didn't know about Louis Welch, get ready to find out. Get ready to have an education of the highest order, because this kid is categorically the best driver I've ever seen. This is a higher level than Chizzy, and I think Chizzy is world class. This is a higher level than Dom Parry with all the expertise he has. This is the guy that when Louis was racing, he was finishing light years ahead of these two. So I mean, this is now gone from a maybe a bit of a tight race to now maybe a bit of a walkover. There is absolutely no doubts in my mind that this should be a Louis Welch victory. You could put this guy on softs the entire race. You could put this guy on no tyres. Literally have him racing around on his axes, and he'd still probably find a way to win the race. So that is that's a big statement. But all the other fan favourites are here. Blazer Guns, of course. The ever so brilliant Blazer Guns had a bit of a tough one last week, of course. But for now, like I said, he's in there with the Haas with Sir Quineth, CB46 and Vera Kieran in the Aston Martin, Michael with the McLaren with Dirty Hippo Marcel in there. as we get ready to go. Jamsey, of course, back in as well. He also said last week after when we spoke to him after Australia that he feels like he can get the top 2, the top 3 every single time he races. The difference is tonight, Jesus, Louis Welch, that could be a real spanner in the works. I think the top 3 already, just on paper, you would think in order. I'm going to go with. I usually don't go in order, but I'm going to go in order tonight. You would think Louis Welch, Chizzy, Dom Parry, and I think there will be a big gap between 3rd and 4th. I will tell you that much for absolute certainty. Bailey said Mexico is one of my favourite tracks and I didn't offer tonight. Oh, Bailey, you silly goose, you've missed out. You've missed out desperately. Well, for now, what we're hearing as well is we're just waiting on Lucas, excuse me, to come back. His EA Connect is just getting ready, or he's just trying to connect to the servers. And Cons 10 just added Louis Welch and said, hello, mate, do you need a slipstream in Quali? So, there you go. Offering his services, to say the least. Well, imminently approaching the start of qualification. The drivers are also starting to get a bit restless. They're all kind of throwing rotten fruit and veg at Lucas, telling him to get a pissin' move on. But clearly, the only one I'm waiting on now is Neddy. So, we'll see if Neddy is going to pop on through as well. I have no idea who Hamad on top is. I don't know if Michael knows who that is, but he's kind of sat there in the Alpine. I don't know if that's a new driver. I would be very scared about his connection.
Is that a spotter? Is that a spotter or like an engineer or whatever? Because someone in the other day, they said that they've got spotters.
I'll ask him in the thingy quickly and see if he knows who he is. Let me see if it... You sure on this Ahmed kid with that red bar con? Because I've never seen anyone in F1 before a red bar connection. That guy's going to be flipping around the track like a maniac. He's from the Middle East. Oh, brother, he's in for a treat then. All right then. Hey, fair enough. If he's from the Middle East, God bless him. I don't know how fun that's going to be. I mean, get your opinion on that, Sergio. Great to see someone from the Middle East racing, yeah? But latency, ping on F1, I mean, is that going to be a killer for him tonight?
It's certainly not going to work in his favour, but it all depends on what things are like his end. The connection to him is obviously not going to be the greatest, but it'll be stable, so it just depends on how good his internet connection is on his end of things. As long as it's processing fast enough, you should be okay. That what you tend to get in racing games is you'll get desync, where the cars won't register exactly where each other are on the track, and you'll end up not making contact. Like, for example, when we're watching a side-by-side battle that he may be involved in, you won't see physical contact between the cars. There might still be like a meter's gap between the two, but one of them goes off spinning into a wall. That's because obviously the desync between the two internet connections is too high, so it tends to be if you battle with someone who lives further away from you in real life, then you're more likely to lag into a wall because the system thinks you've hit each other when you haven't.
I mean, dude, I would be scared shitless, of all due respect, if I was next to him.
Yeah,
so,
we have it a lot in sim racing, especially on this platform I use, iRacing. There's a lot of South Africans, and when you're racing against a South African, you tend to just, it's not a racist thing or anything like that, but the moment you see a South African, you just get out of the way. Cause
100%. Well, Michael just said that to me, Sergio, because I know you like to often cover I like to sit at the front and the middle of the grid. You like to look at what happens on in the back, the chaos area, so to speak. Yes. Michael's told me has just told me there in DMs, if the lag on that guy, on the Middle Eastern guy, Hamad, is so bad, let him know, and it'll tell him to leave. He's also said to Hamad that if the lag is just too bad for him to race on his side, to leave as well, and there'll be no issues. So hopefully he's sound enough, and hopefully there is no issues. I would love to see Hamad from the Middle Eastern Hamad there, compete and race on a regular basis. But when you think about just ping, especially in some of those tight turns, that could be a real disaster. That could be a real race ruiner. Regardless, though, here in Mexico, you'd expect the weather to be good. I mean, what are the kind of, the cliff notes of Mexico then, Sergio? What have we got here today? We've got a fun track, a boring track, a safe track. What's your thoughts on it?
We've got a fairly high speed track. There's only a couple of corners which are sort of like on the lower speed of things. We've got I'd say the first 50% of the course is all pretty much fast pace. You've got a couple of tight corners in sector 2, but nothing that'll slow the cars down too much. So there'll be plenty of room for overtaking and plenty of space for DRS as well. Obviously, that's on this type of car, which is obviously last season's car as we look at the real F1 season. So when the cars are obviously updated and they're on the new mode, the latest model, if you like, those around Mexico are amazing, because obviously the amount of overtakes that happen due to the super clipping or whatever it is that slow the car down again, it opens up for a lot of overtakes. But I think we'll see a lot of that tonight anyway, just because of the way the DRS system works in this game. So yeah, I'd say prepare yourself for quite a lot of battles. I imagine there will be quite a few, and there probably will be a few dives as well, because this is a dive heavy track. There's those people that do like to turn into an absolute predator missile on a corner. It's very easy to do around the circuit.
Well, that's why you just seen there, Surty giving us the meme treatment. We love him for it, coming out on wets. I mean, won't be needing those, but slow and steady wins the race. That'll be the message from Surty. On all serious note, though, we see the return tonight, I imagine on a one-off basis, of Louis Welch. This was, like I said, when you came in here, the guy that made Chizzy and Dom Parry just look so mortal and ordinary. I mean, is it unfair to say that the pressure is obviously on his shoulders again today? He has to win this race.
On Welch's shoulder?
Yeah, Welch, yeah.
I'd say with the introduction he got, definitely the pressure is going to be up there. But in terms of obviously the fill-in and whatnot, pressure's off. I think the pressure's mostly on everyone else, because they know they're in championship battles here, and I know we're not that far into the season, but every point matters, and the last thing you need is someone like Louis coming in and taking those maximum points away from you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, talking of pressure then, going back into that same conversation, Tiller in the Ferrari, I mean, he's got a bit of pressure on his shoulders. He was always kind of in that top 3 last season. He's actually missing a teammate tonight. We often talk about how Ferrari is so impeccable in terms of their teamwork on the grid, but only the one Ferrari tonight. Oh, no, never mind. Jamsy's in the... never mind, Jamsy's not Ferrari, Jamsy's in the Red Bull, but only one Ferrari tonight. Tiller not only going to have the pressure tonight to finish high, but also to finish maybe in the podium to make up for that lack of a teammate, unless he's going to arrive here late. But what do you think of that?
I think his teammate might have joined the session. I did see a shadow gunner join the session a moment ago. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
He's
there he is.
On the
Okay, well,
tower now, but
commentator's curse.
I think your point is still on, though. I think the pressure's there. They've not had the greatest start to the season, and they've got the pressure from last season. You know, they were one of the best teams out there, if not the best, in terms of the teamwork and performance we saw throughout the season. They were definitely the strongest ones, and now they're being pushed to beyond their limits, and you can see that there's a bit of struggle there this season, whether things just aren't playing in their favour in terms of luck, or whether it is just a skill-based problem at the moment this part of the season. But it's still a bit early to tell, so we'll just have to see how the performance goes tonight. But that'll give them a real indication on whether they're actually going to be fighting in this championship this season.
Well, let's give a little look at that, actually, going on that. Again, we've got the brilliant graphics here from Michael in terms of both the races so far. Race week 1, of course, you see Dom Parry there coming away with it. Sean Tiller in the Ferrari in 4th. Shadow's Gunner in 6th. That's a pretty decent way to start the season. We thought, yeah, okay, they're off to a flying start. It was actually last week, though, in Australia, where it seems like something happened to Sean, something happened to Tiller in the race. Shadow's Gunner finishing in the podium, 3rd position, decent, but one of the record lows for Sean Tiller in 9th position. Yes, he finishes in the points, but he can't afford to keep having those low finishes if he wants to be a serious contender for the championship, can he, Sergio?
No, you do need to be up there. I mean, we saw that. Obviously, you take a look at last season. Yeah, no disrespect to him, but he's the easy name to pick up because it's the one that sticks out in your memory because of how good his performance was in the latter half of the season. But look at Craig, for example. The Craig and Chizzy team, there were a lot of the points were coming from Chizzy's side, but Craig just unfortunately needed those extra few points. Wasn't getting them early in the season, and unfortunately that showed later in the season. That really showed how pivotal those points were, and they were desperately needed. And that's pretty much a similar point that the Ferraris are in at the minute, where every point obviously matters anyway, but this is that crucial part where it's going to set them up for that last push when things are starting to get tight and battles are getting more heated. They could find themselves a fair few miles off.
It's fair. Well, I mean, listen, this is my favourite part of the build-up as well, apart from the preview interviews and stuff that you do. But bring it back over to the kind of the analytical screen here. The Mexico City preview. I mean, talk to me about this then. I mean, the one thing I'm seeing immediately right off the rip is the rear left tyre. That's looking like it could face some pressure point for some of the drivers today. Talk to us though about this. What do you like about Mexico, and what are the drivers going to need to do with their cars to ensure maximum results tonight?
Yeah, so as I spoke about with the circuit earlier, you can see there's quite a lot of there's not many sharp turns, as you see the track map there in the circuit information tab. Not many sharp corners at all, but there's a couple of decent sized straights. The speed capture zone is actually in the top right corner, just before the couple of corners there, splitting the two straights up. So you'll get those come across at quite high speed there. But the rear left will take most of the fall in this circuit because of the turning, all the turning and power all rubs off on those rear tyres because they're very high speed corners, majority of them are. So a lot of that power will rub off onto those tyres. As you can see, the rear right, the power that comes down the centre of the tyre, obviously that is, as we've explained before, that is your longitudinal energy. So that is the energy of the car in motion of forwards and backwards. That takes quite a beating on the rear right there as well, but rear left overall will be cooking, and it will be a lot hotter than the other tyres.
Yeah.
Fronts don't get affected as much here, which might work in your favour, but you just got to be careful of wheel spin, which we saw a couple of people actually struggle with in Australia. I remember a few people kicking the back end out, so it's one of those things you're going to have to keep a real strong eye on when you're around this circuit, because it really will punish you, especially with your tyres being that bright in terms of how much wear and tear is going to be on them, especially on that rear left. It's going to be a killer for some people that may not be used to it.
Well, there you go. Well, for now, let's go back to the action, of course, on the screen. Thank you for that, Sergio. As the times are starting to fly in, get your opinion. Louis Welch, the guy to watch, 114.4. I mean, Kieran on a 114.7 as well. I mean, is that what you expect from a top name like Louis Welch? Are you expecting low 114s? Are you expecting him to creep into the 113s?
Yeah, let's just have a little look at that time that was set for. Yeah, so it is about right. The lap record at the minute around this circuit is a 1:17 by Valtteri Bottas in a Mercedes in 2021. So that was the amazing season Mercedes had. Obviously, unfortunately, losing out right at the end there. But yeah, that's a quality lap time. And then if you've got to take off a couple of seconds, and that gives you the timings for the game. And I'd say Louis probably about bang on, but if anything, that's a little quicker than what I'd expect. I probably was going to say around the low 15s, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, Kieran and Louis have absolutely smashed it out of the park. Yeah,
totally. I think the other thing to kind of reference here as well, coming away from Louis and away from Kieran, the comments from Jamsey last week. Now, I had no problem with them, but I think a couple of people in that drivers' Discord had their noses up a little bit afterwards. He talked in a very confident way. I think confidence is such a key thing in any sport, whether it's F1, whether it's football, whatever. But Jamsey came on here and he said to us, listen, I believe now, with the way that I'm racing, with the quality of the grid that I'm seeing, that I can consistently finish in those podium slots. How did you take that? Did you take that as him being a little bit full of himself, or did you take that as just a confident driver that's maybe rubbed people the wrong way?
I mean, as a a racing driver, whether it's in a game, in a sim, in real life, whatever it is, you kind of got to have that, not cockiness about you, but you kind of got to be up your own rear end a little bit.
Mm.
You do need to back yourself, because if you don't and you're going into these races without that kind of confidence, that can affect your performance. And going in with sort of like a confidence like that, and almost sounding quite happy with the way things are going, that would frustrate other drivers, and that could actually be a massive psychological advantage. Because those people that may be your closest rivals might try and push themselves that bit further just to shut you up, and in actual fact they push themselves beyond their limits. So it could well be a massive benefit in your favour, but it is a risky thing, because you could end up with half a grid teaming up on you just to stop you from finishing, where you want to. And that's obviously not what you want to see, but that could happen. It's very easy to turn people, and everyone wants to win at the end of the day. And if you're sitting there saying that you feel that you're in a good place and you can probably win the whole lot or anything along those lines, then yeah, you will rub some people up the wrong way. But at the end of the day, that's racing for you, and a lot of drivers will talk like that, and they'll say the same thing.
I agree. I didn't really see too much issue with it. I think that's just a guy that is happy with his own progression. I think I've watched, and you've watched someone like Jamsey come up where 2 seasons ago he was this kind of fresh, raw driver. Now he's up there swinging for the fences. So I love that for him, and I love that from him. Louis Welch there, by the way, just breaking his own fastest lap there, a 1:14.092. This kid's going to break the 1:13s in a minute, Sergio.
Yeah, it's absolutely unreal time. Doing immense work out there, and I think, like you say, he's one of those alien pace people. We call them aliens on sim racing, and it's someone that just ridiculous in terms of their pace, and he's going to be exactly that tonight.
So I still remember when we first brought Louis Welch in, no one knew who this kid was, and people were seeing the times he was putting in, and there was kind of those whispers, those murmurs in the background. He's on PC. Is he modding? This kid is not, but this kid is just damn fast. Do you want to talk about listen? I've said this in the build-up. A lot of respect for Chizzy, a lot of respect for Dom Parry. These guys are great drivers, but it just feels like you said, Louis Welch is from a different planet. He is an alien. This kid can just take control of races, and once he's got his grip on the first position on the tower, no one can stop him. I think every single time when he raced in a full-time seat consistently 2 seasons ago, last season was kind of his first season away, he didn't sign up, but 2 seasons ago when he had first place in a race, he never ever let it go. It was just you watched with peril. It was the Max Verstappen effect, and I mean that can put people off, Sergio, but it can also make people want to do better. It can make people want to improve. When you have that, though, I get your opinion. Someone's so dominant, someone's so out of this world, someone's so alien. Should people use that as an excuse to go, well, there's no point racing, I'm not going to do much? Or do you need to kind of, find that competitive side of yourself and say, that's what I want to get closer to? Or does it also just depend purely on why you show up and race every week?
I mean, if you don't want to get better, the right thing to do would be to say, yeah, can't be bothered, that person's just going to win it all, there's no point. That's the best thing to do. If you're not fast about getting better, just quit while you're ahead, just leave. But if obviously you're looking to get better, if you want to fight amongst that sort of quick pace, as sad as it may sound to some people, what you need to do is you need to study that driver in terms of, you need to, when they're out on their laps, spectate them. You've got 15, 16 minutes of qualifying. You don't need to be driving that whole time. Wait for that person to go out. Watch their laps. Where are they hitting their brakes? Where are you hitting your brakes? Compare the two together. Is he taking a different line for a different corner? Those kind of things. You need to watch that stuff, and then that will tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. There might be some things that you feel you're doing better and you feel quicker, but it might be costing you more time over the course of a lap. But you might be saving time over one corner, but over the course of a lap, that person's obviously going a second quicker than you, so there's time to be made elsewhere, at least. And that's the best thing to do. So if you're someone that wants to run up with the pace of like Senor Louis at the top, then you need to be watching the laps and then or just seeing what they do, or even just ask for some advice. So,
I
not all the time, but sometimes racers will give advice.
Wanted to touch on that as well. That's a brilliant pivot point, because I was going to say this. I think it helps that from the interactions I've seen and had with Louis Welch, he seems like just a normal, down-to-earth person, which is interesting, because when you see these kind of guys on the FIFA side that are like very, very good, the arrogance, the like the way that they talk, the ego, all that kind of stuff, it is very apparent. And you can't really go up to someone in the top end of their position, a top striker, a top goalie, and say, hey, listen, man, I'm new, you don't know me, can I have some sort of advice on what to do here, there, and everywhere? Because they're just going to either air you or just take the piss out of you. The F1 side, much like the UFC side, if you find a good player and you explain to the good player that you're wanting advice, you're not really maybe as high in the grid as you want to be, and you just need some sort of tips, even if it's a tire strategy, even if it's, how do I approach this sector? How do you approach that sector? I'm losing, time on these types of turns. What can you help me with? What can you suggest? Guys like Louis Welch will give you that time. I think that's absolutely why this league, I think, is so brilliant, because some of the top names are so approachable. Louis Welch is approachable. I would say Kieran, not a man of many words. I don't think you could approach him. But Tiller, Chizzy, Dom Parry, these guys are all drivers that have kind of had their own journey to go from kind of absolutely mid to now being at the top of their game. So I think you're absolutely bang on the money. I think to be brave and to be maybe, a little bit vulnerable and go out to these guys and say, listen, I suck on this track, or I suck on this kind of, on this type of circuit. What kind of advice would you give? How do I improve my time by a second here or a second there? They're going to give it to you. And I think that information relay so important in terms of maybe drivers like a Cons or a Quinner, or a Neddy, or even a Surtees, to kind of just, pick them. Maybe not a Surtees, because Surtees is a big troll, but we love him. But, to kind of pick that information out of those drivers and then use it to kind of improve them. It's so imperative. And I think you're going to see more of that. And we've already seen drivers already studying tape. I got drivers kind of every week, Sergio, asking me when the VOD's going to go up on YouTube, so they can kind of sit back and they can watch our point of view and see what certain drivers are doing in certain situations. There is a lot of study going on as it already happens, and that may be a little bit nerdy for some people, but for a lot of people, you've got to understand, FIFA is your main game. For some of these guys, F1 is their main game, and they want to kind of improve, and they want to take that next step to be great, and you can appreciate that, you can respect that. For now, qualifying coming towards an end here, Sergio. It looks like we're not going to break the 113s, but again, a recap, the only two drivers so far that have broken the 114 boundary, Louis Welch and VRL Kieran. In that sense tonight then, are you thinking it's a pretty bog standard, any order 1, 2, 3, Welch, Kieran, Chizzy, or are you liking Benchwarmer, who has maintained third position in this quali sector so far?
I think it's going to be a 1 and 2 for Louis and Kieran in the order they're in. And then I think battle for third is going to be between Chizzy and Benchwarmer. I don't think Dino is going to come into play in said battle. I think it is just going to be between Benchwarmer and Chizzy, because they know when to defend and when not to defend, and they know that they don't want to slow each other up. So I think Dino's only not going to be involved in the battle, because he's going to have Jamsey sniffing around, because Jamsey's going to want to get close to his teammate, and Dino is the only person stopping that from happening. So I think Dino's going to have his hands full this race. But yeah, I think the front two are just going to walk away with it, if I'm completely honest, from what I can see.
There you have it. Well, of course, fellas, remember, do not ready up. I repeat, do not ready up until Michael gives you the ping. There will be about a 3 or 4 minute period that Michael will allow, so you can get your setups correct. Some people in the Discord were saying, I hope it doesn't rain, or I hope it doesn't get overcasty. We've seen the weather shift violently before from quali to lights out, so we'll keep our eyes peeled. But for now, it looks like a very kind of dry and, I don't know, maybe a very humid Mexico City here tonight. We've got our eyes peeled quickly on Shadow's Gunner as well, who is looking to complete his quali lap and maybe propel himself up the tower. But I mean, as of right now, Tiller, 115.5. He finished 9th place in Australia. He's currently got 9th place in the quali grid here tonight. Maybe the talent, maybe the brilliance and the consistency of this grid continues to give him challenge. And Jamsey there, just in the final couple of seconds, has just stolen P3 in quali, 115.1, I think it was. That confidence shining to the top. I love it, man. I love it from Jamsey. Definitely a name to watch. There you go, the quali over, and that's what it looks like in the end. Welch, Kieran, and Jamsey taking podium in the qualification, and from there on out, some work to do for maybe the likes of the Ferrari Tiller and Shadow's Gunner there in 9th and 19th. Gunner left that quali lap a little bit too late, didn't he? So for now, like I said again, do not ready up. Michael will, of course, give you the heads up when you can ready up, and we'll ping the Discord again when to ready up. So while the drivers get everything kind of set and sorted in their setup, Sergio, I'll quickly bring this up here, and we'll discuss these grids as well. Not grids, but these standings here in round 2. Whack this up here, and whack this up here. All right, so let's talk about. Well, I'll tell you what, looking at that is a bit overcasty. There could be some rain coming. There could be. Let's talk about these graphics here for the time being. So, coming into tonight, Kieran 4 points ahead of Chizzy. Dom Parry missed last week. He stays on 25 points. I mean, is there an opportunity here for anyone in particular tonight? Of course, we know Welch is there, but does Dom Parry, after missing last week, need to have a good performance, do you think?
Yeah, I think Parry needs one, and I think Shadow needs one as well, to be fair. But at the same time, Jamsey, because if Parry, Shadow, and Jamsey all have semi-decent results, that increases the gap between them and Dirty Hippo and Tiller. So that makes an ideal situation for them, because instantly you're turning the championship race into a 4 or 5 name race for the rest of the season, because the gap will get bigger and bigger, and it only takes a couple of races in to really separate things out. And I mean, look at how it ended up last season. You know, we had a winner by, you know, we had like 4 races to go, and we already had our victor. So yeah, it's nicer to see a tighter battle, but I think the person that's going to profit the most here tonight is probably going to be Kieran. Because that's going to knock points down in terms of, well, for everyone really, but if he can either find a way in front of Louis, he's only got to find half a second, and I mean, that's half a second, that's within DRS range, you know, you need to be within a second. So if he can just keep to Louis and try and sneak a win here, that's going to lower the points for everyone else behind him, so that's going to increase the gap between him and Chizzy. But even if he can just pull off a P2, again, that just extends the gap. Only by a small amount, but every little helps at this point.
Absolutely. And again, quick one as well on the team standings. 58-40, Aston Martin in second. 18 points still behind Red Bull. This is when you need to strike when the iron's hot if you're Red Bull, isn't it, Sergio? You have to get points at a premium now at Red Bull. Just try and make this an unwinnable race in terms of the team constructors.
Yeah, you kind of just need to shut out shop and just not really defend for your lives, but you kind of need to start whipping out some of those Ferrari-esque defences over the, maybe not today, but over the next couple of races, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just to try and solidify that gap again, because I say the moment a gap opens up, it really starts to open up, and the gap gets bigger and bigger, and it's one of those things that it's very difficult to stop, and it takes a hell of a driver to minimise a gap that, you know, seems to be getting larger and larger every week.
Oh, and we've just gone to the lights out here. I agree with you. When in layman's terms, when it rains, it pours, and that absolutely is the fact for the team constructors that we've seen historically and previously. Here we go then, an opportunity tonight to see who takes home race week 3 in Mexico. Is this a track where, you know, it's not wide, or it's not a street track like we've seen the last couple of times, Sergio? Do you expect many crashes? I mean, obviously we've got the Hamad situation. He's out playing out in the Middle East with that ping. But, I mean, the track is wide. It's going to take some real special talent tonight to crash in a blaze of glory, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I was just looking at how Hamad's done so far at the start of this race. I mean, there is a bit of like wheel to wheel going on. There's a few little love taps here and there, but nothing too major within the back 10. Hamad is fighting around the back of the grid, like the very back of the grid, has fallen back there. It's not really due to pace, it's just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
But overall, the connection, which is the main thing, looks okay, looks stable enough from what I can see. Obviously, it just depends how it is their end. But yeah, overall, a decent start for the back 10. Just having a look here, we've just got CB that's just gone wide though, so that's going to cost him a few positions. But someone that I've seen looks a little lively at the back is Certi, so that'll be one name I'll be keeping an eye on. Obviously, I'll be focusing on the rear 10 for this Grand Prix. So
yeah, make sure as well, fellas, you drop Sergio a follow. And again, if you're watching tonight, whack his stream on the side. You're going to get our kind of... I'm going to float, of course, across the grid, but again, what we want to really do is we want to give you guys as much camera time as possible. So, you know, we're looking at everything. I'm looking all over the grid. Sergio is looking kind of focusing on the drivers to watch, the prospects to watch. So you're going to see a lot more maybe the likes of Sir Gwyneth and Neddy and Hamad down there. I will say quickly on this one, Sergio, though, this weather is concerning me, and maybe the drivers feel the same. All but 2 drivers coming out on mediums, Dom, Parry and Neddy, the only 2 that have come out on hards. Is this a track where you wouldn't be too surprised if we saw some rain halfway through?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I was trying to work out if my camera was just a bit distorted, or we were seeing rain then. I think it was just a little distorted, but certainly looking at the onboard
wow,
at the
look
minute.
at that from Kieran, by the way. Though you just saw that on my screen, but Kieran lost a lot of control there, and then he skidded into the wall. So that grip, we talked about it in Australia. I think you said a little bit of that in quali. The control of the car, the wheel spin, the grip, that is going to cost Kieran some valuable time, who now is even falling further behind Louis Welch. So that's interesting. Sorry though, Sergio, I cut you off there.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, looking at it from the onboard point of view, it does look very overcast, and the clouds do look quite thick as well. So I wouldn't say it's impossible to see rain here. I think it's fairly common in Mexico, especially at the time of the GP. So yeah, I mean, obviously keep our eyes open for it, but it is looking that way. There's that slight shine on the circuit as well in some areas. So and that normally indicates that there's some rain in the sky. But it looks like we've had a crash out, by the way. Fairly early on. Yeah, we have blazer guns dropping down to the back of the pack. Didn't see what happened there. Just trying to see if there's any damage. Yeah, front wing's got some damage on both sides, so I'm not unsure if he's had any contact with another car or if it's straight into the wall. But the winglets on both the sides of that front wing are completely missing.
Feels so bad for Blazer Guns. He's had such rough starts this week and also last week. Such a great driver, always positive, always kind of there on time and wanted to show out. And he's such a great character to have in the league. But this start of the season, it's not been kind to him. A couple of big moments already in the first 3 weeks. Bit of a train form in here, though, Sergio, from around about 6th to 9th. I mean, even include 10th in that. But again, this is going to be one tonight where you've got to be a little bit brave at points, don't you? If you're someone like HDNO here, you've got to maybe kind of put the foot down and try and take positions. You can't be a pedestrian. You have to race tonight.
Yeah, it's like that saying goes, you know, you're not a racing driver if you don't go for the gap anymore. And that's what you have to be, especially around on this circuit. But also, this circuit does have some gifts for you. It does have places where you can go for the move, and a lot easier than other tracks as well. So you need to kind of take those advantages while they're there and actually take full advantage of this circuit in general, because you've got the space, you've got the time on the straights as well. Use it and gain all the points you can before you get to somewhere, you know, for example, you get to a Monaco or something where you're going to be doing next to no overtaking unless there's a pile-up, and if there is, it's red flag, and the race is basically done because the circuit's so tight.
I will quickly, you know, pick your brain on this one. 4 laps in out of 36, yes. Are you surprised there's already this level of a gap between 4th and 5th?
Yes. The only reason being is because the names are the wrong way round.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
That's the biggest sort of shock, but at the same time, the gaps between the top 3
are huge.
It's also shocking. Yeah, massively. I mean, Chizzy dropping down again. They're a place according to the timing tower. So, yeah, there's some shocking things happening in this race, that's for sure. So, be interesting to see what's going on there, whether if there's a confidence thing, whether there is a physical issue with the car, the Chizzy. But, yeah, it's not looking good.
We'll say quickly, though, 5 laps in, big fans of how Lucas and HDNO and even Rye are doing this so far. Doesn't feel like we get to talk about Rye often. For Dom Parry, maybe, as well. little bit of a hangover? Didn't race last week. Is he looking a little bit rusty down there in 11th? Or is that just the hard tyres giving us that mirage?
Sorry, what was the question? My brain.
I was completely taken aback by the 10-second penalty for corner cutting from Hamad and Cons there. I said, for you, impressed by Lucas and HDinho so far? And secondly, Dom Parry in 11th, is that rust because he didn't race last week, he was away on holiday, or is that just the mirage being provided by the fact that he's one of the only 3 people on the grid on hard tyres?
I think it could be a bit of the hard tyres. They might be a bit slippery out there. The track's probably a little cooler than what it was in the qualifying. Because obviously in the qualifying it was quite sunny from what I can remember. And the track temp will be a little different. So it could be a little more slippery / greasy out there. So that might be a bit more of a struggle. But yeah, there could just be a little race rust in there as well. But that might be a case of just needs to settle into a rhythm, and once that rhythm's found, then he's off on a mad run of overtake. So
Well, I mean, I'm hoping. Said 30 laps to go. Don't count Dom Parry out. We'll say as well. I want to say, really, commiserations to the Middle Eastern Messiah there in Hamad. For me, VFL as a league, as a community, is all about inclusivity. FIFA, UFC, whatever game we do, we want people to be involved. I hate to see people feel like they can't be involved in the stuff we do because of geographical location or ping or lag, but it just looks like it hasn't worked tonight for Hamad. Hopefully we get to see him again, and hopefully there's a way that he can, figure out, maybe it's, I don't know how he's going to do it to race, because I love seeing those kind of stories. I want to be talking about someone from the Middle East performing at such an elite level, but for him tonight, he's given it his best go. You can't knock him for it. We appreciate him being here. So happy that he's found us and wanted to be involved, but it's just not happened for him tonight due to that ping. For now though, first kind of pit interestingly tonight, Sergio, and it's VRL Kieran, who's come in 7 laps in, and he's got on fresh hards. Is that him making a move, thinking potentially the weather is shifting, or is that maybe a move where he's looking and saying, okay, this is strategic?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. To be honest, I can't quite predict what he's done there. I'm not entirely sure, but unless he knew the safety car was coming up, so he's gone in early, because there is a safety car on circuit at the moment.
I was going to say, where did the safety car come from? Did you catch that all?
No, I didn't catch that at all. I mean, Gwyneth is now no longer in the session, so there's a chance that the Haas car had something to do with that.
Look at that at the top. 10-second penalty, a severe collision with Lucas for Dom Parry. He's not going to be happy with that. We know Dom Parry is not a reckless driver. Did something happen there? No clue, but that's a massive penalty on such a big driver. Sorry, Sergio, carry on.
Yeah, no. I was just trying to work it out myself, and that's kind of given us our answer. But didn't really see what had happened between those 2 drivers, unfortunately. But yeah, it's not ideal for him. He's now sitting in the points in 8th, behind, or soon to be behind, a safety car as well. And there's another penalty there. CB coming in with another 10-second penalty for ignoring the. I think that was the yellow flags from what I saw. Yeah. So I'm guessing that'll be a case of overtaking a car under the safety car conditions.
Oh, they're all coming through now. Look at that. Now Blazer has a drive-through penalty, speeding under the safety car. Is this so far for you, the last kind of 30 seconds? Is this, and Blazer Guns there has just said, that's enough for me, that's me retired. Shadow's gonna now, a severe collision with Cons. Is this, I mean, all of it's happening in the last 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Is this head loss on the grid? How do you look at this?
Yeah, speechless.
Yeah,
I think it is a bit of head loss, to be honest. Not something we see often, but I think this is a bit rarer head loss from some of the grid here, because unfortunately, apart from obviously Mr. Parry, who's now leading this race behind the safety car, everyone on penalties is towards the back of the grid. So, I mean, that's not ideal for everyone else, because those penalty people that might get in the way, they don't affect the race at all now. CB serving his penalty, so that has been cleared. But yeah, more or less everyone towards the back of the grid now, with some kind of penalty time there to either be served or added on at the end of the race. So not a perfect situation for those guys. That kind of writes them off a little bit. But in terms of everyone else, they know they're all fighting on for points, and you kind of don't have to worry about slipping into P13 or down. Obviously, not that you want to be there anyway, but yeah, with all those penalties yet to be served, then you've got a bit of a leeway, a bit of space in case you do have a little bit of slip up.
It's fair. Well, Hamad there as well just added me in the general and said, the lag is too much. My bad, brother. My bad for the crash. I lagged. I couldn't do anything. Again, Hamad, if you're hearing this, we respect you so much for giving it a go, man. Hopefully we get to see you still at least observing and being involved. We'd love to kind of have you there trying again in the future, but I completely understand. I get it. You're a light year away, so it is what it is. Cons as well on his penalty, Sergio, the collision, I think it was. He said, what the fuck happened? My apologies. I was on 57 miles an hour, 2 centimetres from the pit lane. So something must have happened there, which caused a bit more of a severe crash.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened with that one, but the main thing is all cars seemingly are back on the grid. We're only down to 17 cars. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I thought we were about to see cars dropping like flies, and we'd be down to sort of 15 or less, and then a few questions might have raised.
CB is not happy with F1 there. He said, bullshit, it said I had to give a place to behind me. So that's what CB's penalty came with as well. So no idea. I think out of the last 2 seasons we've done together on comms, Sergio, that's quite possibly the most kind of bizarre 60 seconds we've had.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think CB's every right to moan there, to be honest, and complain, because I'm pretty sure I saw that last season as well. A safety car comes out and the game bugs out, or if there's someone with a dodgy or laggy connection anywhere in the grid, that sometimes can affect things as well. So it'll be a case of they might be lagging and they might have lagged behind you, whereas on your screen they're in front of you still. The game doesn't pick that up and it thinks you need to give a place back when you actually obviously don't. So it could just be a connection issue. I was seeing quite a few people, whether it was me or whether it was other people, not too sure, but a few people were blinking as well, which is a sign that there was some connection issues. So there could have been a connection problem during the safety car, and that's ultimately cost him. But there is a somewhat of a bug in this game where that sort of thing does happen. Yeah. Because I definitely saw it last season, and unfortunately CB's the person dealing with it this season.
Yeah, he elaborated. He said I had to drop a place to a person behind when I did nothing wrong. So fucking shit. Pen for nothing crap race. EA Sports, it's in the game at the end of the day, Sergio, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what it is. You can't really say anything more to that. You can't defend them anymore, and they're not hiding from it either. They know their games are poor, and they're just going to keep producing them because it makes them money. So
I think
no changes.
The only silver lining, though, it's happened 10 laps in. He's down there in 16th now. He's not got an active penalty. He can still make a comeback. Maybe he won't finish in the top 5 or 4, but he can still finish in the points tonight, can't he?
Certainly can. It won't take much of a push either. 2 Racing Bulls, has a penalty. Dirty Hippo penalty, not a problem at all. Technically on circuit right now, even though not on paper, but where he sits, he's actually P13 right now, with obviously their penalties applied because he's within that time frame of all those cars. So in theory he's not that far behind right at all. So I think he just needs a good start from the safety car here, and points are definitely on, but you've got to remember you do have a VRL Kieran there who's going to be working his way up the grid, and a Chizzy down near the bottom of the top 10 there as well. So that's 2 cars that are going to try and clear off as soon as possible. So kind of need to be on it for your race start to make the most of it.
Bit of jousting as well in that general, Sergio. Louis atting Dom Parry saying, serve your penalty with a laughing emoji. Dom just replied, nah, smiley face. You think that's maybe strategy? Is Dom going to try and act as a blocker here to give Benchwarmer some sort of ounce of chance against Louis?
Yeah, 100%. And if that's the case, then fair play to them. Team orders, try and help each other out, and I respect it. It's what racing's about. You got to help your teammates when you can, and if you're kind of blessed in the situation where you can actually do that, then take them full advantage.
I think in the end as well, one thing that I just only noticed now that I want to get maybe your opinion on. Obviously, it's strategy from Dom Parry But has Neddy also missed a trick here by not going in? Said he had the safety car, the opportunity to change the tyres, but he stayed out there in 5th place with the Williams. 10-lap-old hard tyres. Is that a mistake from his side?
It could be, but then again, it could be a thing of holding out for the weather. Don't really know what's happening with the weather yet. It's very overcasty, but obviously this is summer according to the UK. Really, if you see weather like this, so yeah, you don't really know which way it's going to go, especially being in Mexico. It's a very you got to take it with a pinch of salt, really. In their country, weather is very hit and miss. You know, it could be sunny one moment, 5 minutes later, all of a sudden you're in a monsoon or something. It really does change big time.
Right now, a third of this race done and dusted, and I think the big question mark, a third of the race in, Sergio, is what the hell is going on with Shadow's Gunner?
Yeah, yeah, I can't really explain that one. Not too sure what's happened here, but the Ferrari really hasn't had a good race here this evening. Whether it's strength of the grid, the grid in general might be a lot stronger than what it normally is, or it's just a case of a bad start and not able to find the feet again. But it's not an ideal situation at all.
Well, CB there now adding a 3-second penalty to his name after multiple warnings. He just has to keep his head. This is going to be a real test on CB46 tonight, because it is a race now fueled by frustration. CB may have a 3-second penalty, but I keep repeating it. Only a third of the race down. This is still possible for him to go and maybe chase that 10th position, chase that 9th position, go and get the points on the board. That will be the message, no doubt, from his teammate VRL Kieran as well. Isn't it a bit ironic to use Sergio? It makes me laugh and chuckle a little bit. We're going to need to maybe be seeing VRL Kieran act as the psychologist, telling a teammate to calm down and persevere tonight.
Yeah, it's a weird thing as well, seeing Kieran mid-table at the minute, but I wouldn't say he's struggling to get up there, but we've got quite a steady chain of cars at the moment, and he seems to be sitting quite comfortably in there, so not only is he probably hoping that his teammate does calm down a little bit, he's also got to worry about his own race, because he is in the thick of a big battle here as well. And it looks, I'm seeing bits of contact there between the Mercedes and the McLaren, Lucas and Michael. Big contacts there, and
there's
there we
a
go.
bit of a spin out. Yep, that's the spin out. I just saw that. We were just right on that. I mean, who's to blame for that one? You got a front row seat of it, so did I. Yeah,
to me, I saw the two cars going side by side, and it looked like the car on the inside had sort of held their line, but I think they went a bit too bold with the move. Tried to claim the old arm side by side kind of thing, but I don't think the move was on. And but it's one of those things where you say the move wasn't on, and then you also look back at our commentary line of, you're not a racer if you don't go for the gap. They went for the gap, closed up, but they tried it. So
risk versus reward, man.
Yeah.
Well, for now, Shadow's going to start to ascend up the grid. Of course, he's penalty-less at this minute in time, so he's going to be ahead of Surtees and CB, so 12th place for the Ferrari at the minute, who, again, we'll know, last week he carried the weight of Ferrari. Tiller is carrying the weight of Ferrari tonight. These two have got to get back on the same page. I will say, one that's gone under the radar nearly half the race in, Michael, Overlord Chief in charge, got a lisp. 6th place with the McLaren tonight, Sergio. Surprised by that one?
I am a little bit, considering that on my screen he doesn't have any tyres on. So I'm a bit amazed by still running. But for me, he's not had wheels since the first lap. So I think I would like to see a steward inquiry into how the vehicle is moving. I feel like a protest does need to be made, because he shouldn't be on the track. But he's had a great race so far, even if you don't know what tyre he's on. But no, he's doing a great job, and to keep someone like Kieran behind him as well is top job there.
That's one for your clip factory, 1000%. Look at that from the side. Look at it from Kieran's camera angle. That's just so funny, dude. Look at that. Oh dear. Michael. Oh, who needs tyres when you got pure passion and determination, eh? Shocking. Well,
It's like watching the speeders from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Hovering along the ground. Like.
Dude, he's Barney Gumbling his way. He's Fred Flintstoning his way to the finish line. I love it. That is pure passion right there. Top 5, though. Talk about the quality of this grid. Louis, Benchwarmer, Jamsey, Tiller, and Dom Parry. Kieran in 6th position. I mean, you're going to feel for a couple of those guys tonight who are going to finish outside of the podium. But, Jesus, the top-end quality on the grid here in Mexico tonight is just overwhelmingly good. Especially when, you're talking about Kieran in 6th, Chizzy in 8th. Again, I think Rye on his day is a brilliant driver. He's in 11th. CB, for me, the prospect of the season in 13th. For the minute, Shadows Gunner, who's been so improved, in 14th. Marcel in the McLaren Dirty Hippo, who I think as well has had so many great races where he's finished in the the 7th, 8th position. Is Mexico maybe the track that we look back at and say this was a main kind of cornerstone in the race for the team constructors and the race for the drivers' championship? Because there's a lot of struggles going on here, a lot of surprises going on here, Sergio.
Yeah, and I think as well, like you say, the strength of the top part of the grid is massive compared to previous rounds and weeks. We've seen a much bigger gap, not a bigger skill gap, but a bigger gap in the timing tower. Whereas tonight, it's all fairly equal, don't get me wrong. Those gaps do look big, 3.5 seconds, 2.6, 2.5, 1.6, and then 2/10 Dom Parry from Kieran. But even though those gaps are fairly big, they're all staying fairly equal. They're not getting away that easily, and the times are roughly staying how they are. So it's a bit of a stalemate really between the front drivers, but it's almost what you want, because if there's any slight slip up or a weather change or even a penalty comes in, or any slight hiccup or change to the environment of the race or the race itself, that puts a massive spanner in the works for any one of those drivers and can flip their night on its head in a heartbeat.
I will say as well, so far, about to hit the halfway point, Louis Welch, 4.4 seconds ahead of Benchwarmer. I said it in quali. I saw it myself with my own 4 eyes 2 seasons ago. When this guy gets first position, Sergio, he is just unstoppable. Living up to that hype tonight.
Yeah, massively. It'd be interesting to see whether we get to a point of lapped traffic tonight. I doubt it. It seems we're running with a lesser amount of cars as well. That they're only having 17 vehicles still running at the moment. Potentially soon to be 16, depending on how many laps Neddy's willing to do with the position he is on circuit at the minute, because he's quite a way off any battles. So it depends on the boredom factor. If he doesn't mind being out there by himself, then we might well see a back marker, because our leader is catching. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens when it comes to the point of cutting through traffic, because that is when things get a bit tense, because it's not something everyone's used to doing, especially on the F1 game, so it can be a bit difficult. But yeah, it'll be a good, interesting watch there for when that moment does come, if it comes.
Well, let's talk about moments that could come or need to come. If you were in Chizzy's position, the reputation you've got previous in terms of winning the championship, he's really struggled to kind of get overtakes, to ascend up the grid tonight. Halfway through this race now, if you're in his position, what are you doing differently? How are you getting towards that top 5, towards that top 3?
I think it's difficult, because you kind of want to clutch onto all the points you can possibly get, and if I'm not saying that is the ceiling for Chizzy, because also everyone knows it's not, but if that's all the points that Chizzy can get tonight, 8th isn't a crazy high place. I mean, it's a respectable place. I'm not gonna sit here and crap on his parade, but I'm just thinking, 8th place, the point bucket isn't huge. There's only a few points there. Is it worth just gambling and going for no points? And in terms of trying to predict weather, if you know there's rain coming up in 5 minutes, say, do you pit a lap early, get your intermediates on, get out there, and your intermediates will be warm or fairly hot when the rain kicks in? That'll cool them down a little bit, and they're in the window straight away, rather than coming out when they're ice cold, during the rain and trying to heat them up, which takes a lot longer. Do you kind of predict that if there is to be rain? That's something that can give you a massive advantage if you predict those kind of things correct, or even like safety car strategies. Just changing a simple strategy under a safety car or around a safety car can make a world of difference. So if I was in Chizzy's shoes right now, I'd be looking to potentially gamble in some way, shape or form. It's just a question of how you gamble. Whether you pick the weather or whether you pick another safety car, that comes down to the driver and the team. But yeah, for me, if I was Chizzy right now, I'd be looking to potentially gamble to try and work my way up.
It's fair. Well, I mean, the other thing I was going to say, it's a great pivot point again on gambles. Dom Parry, I mean, he's gambling here with hard tyres. 18 lap old hards now. The rest of the grid between 10 and 12 laps. I mean, is Dom Parry in desperate need of a pit imminently? And for the rest of the grid, around what kind of lap are you going to be happy with in your position to kind of say, okay, that's enough. We need to kind of get off the hards here. Because if we're in lap 19 now, approaching lap 20, there's about 16 laps left. Dom Parry is showing you can... I mean, obviously, we've had the safety car, yes, so kind of take that into account. But Dom Parry's on 18 laps here. Are you aiming for a specific kind of lap? Are you getting to lap 24 and saying, now we pit? Or how would you navigate this?
I think for me, personally, I'm looking at trying to go from this point. I'm trying to go another 5 laps, tops. And then putting mediums on and then pushing on the mediums. Because then... I know that they've only got the last 10 laps, and that's not a lot, really, in terms of the length of the race. So I feel that the mediums could comfortably do a 10-lap stint being pushed. So that's the kind of thing I'd be aiming for. I'd be aiming for 5 laps at the top end and coming in anywhere between sort of 2 laps time to 5 laps time.
And for Dom Parry, I mean, is he close to a puncture, do you think? 19 laps?
Yeah, it might not be far off, but punchers can strike at the worst of times, the most random of times as well. You know, we might see a puncture for a brand new set of tyres. It also does depend on debris on the circuit, so if there's been a few crashes in a certain area, you're more likely to find one through there. That is something that I believe was put in this game and has caught some people out. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But in terms of tyre wear punctures, then yeah, we probably are knocking on the door of that. But you'll know for definite when you start to see that driver in particular starting to slip, because like I say, that rear left as we rear left as we were speaking about earlier, that will be absolutely cooking at the minute, and that will be fried. So there probably won't be much left to it.
He's not pitting again. He is carrying on. 20 lap on hards now. I mean, that's getting concerning. Let me float an idea your way here. This is a little bit kind of crazy. This is like, you know, Heath Ledger's the Joker in Batman level of crazy when he blew up the hospital. Is Dom Parry looking to race here, hold up the grid, and maybe he wants a puncture. Maybe he wants his race to end, a safety car to come out, and then that closes the gap on Louis Welch at the top. That gives Benchwarmer maybe a bigger opportunity to catch him. Am I speaking crazy there, or could you maybe see that line of thinking?
I could definitely see the line of thinking. I think, I mean, if we're being honest, if anyone wants to go for any kind of win here this evening, you're gonna need some kind of safety car to slow your leader down, because nearly a 10-second lead, I'll be honest, it's a joke. You're not catching that. So you kind of need some kind of safety car or something along those lines to bring that leader, like bring him back in, reel him back in, and then you kind of need to pounce on the restart. But again, it's a difficult thing to do from any position other than first. So the win is probably off the cards for quite a few drivers. I'd say at least from out of the top 3, I would say none of them can win it other than Louis from this point in, unless there's a horrific mistake from himself. Yeah. I don't think he's something that he's someone that can be caught. But I'd say Kieran's had a great little comeback drive here, to be fair. Mid-table earlier on, and now fighting for that podium, and potentially eyeing up second here soon. So
Tiller as well. Tiller kind of, after last week finishing 9th position and now right up there in 4th. He's pushing on. Oh, and look at Dom Parry now. I'm just keeping an eye on Dom Parry. I am like braced for impact when it comes to Dom Parry. Chizzy, of course, up into 5th position. There's got to be some sort of catch here of what Dom Parry is doing. Because if he doesn't pit now, you can last on 14 lap old hards. If he plays this brilliantly and in a blinding way, and he pits before all the others pit, he could be in a very promising position in the end to maybe take a top 3 position. Bench warmer there on 15 lap old hards now is pitting. He's going in. I feel like that's intentional. I feel like those two are going to be communicating. It's not a surprise that they're both kick Salbers. And there you go. Dom Parry's going in. I think, Sergio, that Dom Parry has told Benchwarmer, pit now, I'm coming in.
Yeah, there certainly could be some teamwork going on here. And, I mean, hopefully we do see more of that as well. You know, the team plays in these races is a pivotal part, and it's very key as well when it's makes the race more entertaining, and certainly with the team championship as well, it makes that a whole lot more entertaining, because when you see these team orders and team requests coming into play, it really does spice the race up big time.
And he has heeded your advice, by the way. You said that if it was you in your position, a couple laps ago, granted, you said you would go in and you would burn those mediums to the ground. Well, Dom Parry is burning those mediums to the ground. I think he's going to look to finish on 13 lap old mediums here, Sergio.
Yeah, it's going to be a push, and it could be a struggle towards the end, but it's something that could definitely work. But there's a lot of pushing needed for Dom Parry to close those gaps now to the cars ahead.
The only thing that he can say back, though, I will say to you, to cut you off, is he'll say, watch me, I've just done 22 laps on hards. Valid or not valid?
Yeah, no, I think 100%. I mean, if he can prove to me that he can do it and tell me to stick it where the sun don't shine, I'll happily accept that. I'll happily accept that I was wrong. But the talk has been talked, and now we need to see that. You know, we need to see this in play. And like I say, I think Dom Parry's going to need to really push the car to its limit, and I think it's going to be as Mercedes say to Lewis Hamilton so many times throughout his career, it's hammer time for him. Yeah. It's going to be one of those situations where he needs to go all out now, but pit stops coming in ahead of him. This is going to play in his favour, so might bring some DRS around the corner for him, hopefully, if he can get someone out just in front of him.
And more of those guys at the top are going to start to pit as well. I can bank you that for sure. Let's have a quick look at the penalties once again. Sergio, 6 seconds on CB, who, yes, okay, is currently 5th place, but again, he has watched people pit. He will also need to pit as well. 3 seconds on Lucas, 6 for Surtees, 6 for Michael, 6 for HDinho, 3 for Rai, 6 for Hippo, and 6 for Cons. So Dom Parry, Neddy, Jamsey, Benchwarmer, Shadows Gunner, Chizzy, Tiller, Kieran, Welch, all very much clean as of now. Is this a race tonight then? I think I'm in the same boat as you. I think I can't see a reality where Louis Welch loses this. I knew that was going to be the case when he entered the grid today. Is there a possibility, though, that maybe we get some late drama in the race for podium position? Maybe not 2nd place, but 3rd place. Could you see someone snatching that 3rd place or that 3rd place position going down to the final lap?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the tightest battle in terms of the podium slots overall. I think that 3rd place is going to be the one that's in contention towards the end of the race and potentially even the final lap. But yeah, I think 1st place is settled, and I probably would argue 2nd place is almost settled. But that gap between Tiller and Louis, though, there's just no stopping that, is there? And it's like I was saying earlier, it's once those gaps form and they start getting bigger, that it takes a hell of a driver to either control it and stop it from getting bigger and just keep it equal, or even to close it down, it takes an even bigger driver. So I'm not saying these guys aren't capable of it, but it does take something mightily special to bring a gap that size down to anything reasonable.
Morgs as well, absolutely saying it like it is. We've absolutely comms cursed Benchwarmer there, because as we were saying that, you got a 3-second penalty, so joins the penalty list. I mean, this is going to be a really interesting one, because Louis Welch, okay, 10 laps to go. He can't finish on 28 lap hards, can he? I mean, he's going to need to pit at some point, but when does the pit come? I mean, imagine if he leaves it too late, he punctures, he crashes out, and then we've got a real gunfight to the finish here.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the play. Could be the ultimate sacrifice. You never know. I mean, I would say we've seen crazy things, but I mean, conspiracy theories tell me that obviously we have seen things that have been that crazy, if not worse. So in F1 and in racing in general, it could well be a sacrifice might be needed. But yeah, like you say, it will spice the race up big time, and it'll pull everyone together, and that gap for that lead will obviously be minimalised. So the podium, you could then argue, is all up for grabs from that point onwards.
There you have it. Well, for now, of course, we're going to keep our eyes peeled. 9 laps to go, single digits now. It's been a lively and eventful one. It's been a confusing one here in Mexico. We've had it all tonight. We've had a safety car out of basically nothing. We've had a 60-second period of chaos where it just seemed like everyone was getting ready to get out of their car and fist fight each other. We've had Dom Parry on 22 lap on hards. We've got penalties up and down the grid. It's just been a very, very, I think, topsy-turvy Mexico tonight. But as it stands, Louis Welch with one of the biggest differentials of the season, 24 seconds. I mean, this guy is the GOAT. There is no ifs, buts, maybes. He is the guy. And it's why so many people were so happy to see the back of him 2 seasons ago when he announced that he wouldn't take part in Season 3. But I think there'll be a lot of people at the end of this race today kind of waving their hands at him and telling Louis Welch to don't hurry back too soon, because he is just a level above, a cut above the rest. And that's no slight on the lads here. It's just a correct amount of praise on just how damn excellent and how damn impressive Louis Welch is. I mean, right now, though, go back into the other conversation. The race for points, Sergio. I mean, that could come down to the wire as well. Rai currently occupying 10th position, but he's also got the penalties. You got 9 seconds on Dino and co. I mean, Dom Parry, we expect him to be up there, but I mean, as long as he keeps clean and he just keeps the ship steady here, he's probably going to be maybe aiming for maybe a top 7 or top 6 spot, despite those earlier big penalties that he had. He had that big 10-second penalty earlier on, didn't he?
Yeah, massive penalty, which I believe was served, so that's cleared. And yeah, there's quite a few penalties out there on the board at the minute, so if you can just find yourself in that right spot, then that makes all the difference. There are some gaps up there that might come into play, and it might not be quite good enough yet, but there's still life in a lot of tyres out there, and there's still life in a lot of drivers out there as well. We're approaching that last sort of sprint bit where those people that do have energy behind their controller still are just going to be putting their all into it and just trying to nail every single corner. So we're coming down to that crunch time, that sort of squeaky bum time now.
It's interesting to me as well. We talk about, and you said it so brilliantly so often, the softs on this game are a myth. Are Louis Welch, Tiller, Chizzy, Shadows Gunner all basing what they've seen Dom Parry do on 22 lap on hards? Are they saying 22 is the benchmark? Are they going to take their hards to 22, 21 laps and then come in and go in softs for the last kind of 5 to 6 laps? I mean, that could be another possibility. The reality is something's got to give, because these guys are not going to finish on 26 to 28 lap old hards. There's not a chance that they will survive that. 22 was dangerous enough from Dom Parry, but crikey, there's going to need to be something here soon from those big 4: Louis, Tiller, Chizzy, and Shadows Gunner. Even Surtees is on 20 lap old hards as well. So these guys are pushing the tyres to the limit tonight, Sergio.
Yeah, and we've not actually seen pushing like this from a few drivers, well, ever to be honest, from what I've seen. So we saw a couple of people getting brave with it recently, but yeah, seeing these guys go for it now is something a bit more refreshing.
There you have it, absolutely. And I think definitely, the big thing is, Sergio, you're going to have Vero, Kieran, Benchwarmer and Jamsey looking eagle-eyed at the lap counter and saying, come on guys, go in now, come on, head on in there. So I mean, the sooner it happens for them the better, but they've got to maintain their focus and make sure they just don't get overtaken by anyone behind them. Again, for Michael as well, 7th position currently, 8 lap on hards. Yes, he's got a penalty, but how massive would it be for him to kind of see Chizzy and these guys ahead of him kind of pit and potentially kind of outdo that 3-second penalty. They're coming round the bend again here. Are we going to see any pitting? The answer is no from Tiller, no from Kieran, obviously. These guys are all kind of set, but is Chizzy going to pit here? The answer is no. So, I mean, these guys could really be playing with fire here, so I don't know. I feel like there is a big twist, a big crescendo coming here, because, oh, I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like it in the slightest. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm just watching the battle at the minute with Don Parry in the middle of it, and he's in a penalty sandwich at the moment. You know, car behind and car in front, both on penalties. But it's getting quite tight between these guys, and obviously this is a really important moment for Parry to try and move up the grid, because obviously, like I say, you know, he needs to be in that good spot where he can take advantage of the penalties of the cars ahead. And at the minute, he kind of needs to be trying to claw his way up a car or two before the end of the race. So yeah, it's going to be a tense few laps here for Senor Parry.
I wish that was a setting. Cameo just said, is there a way that we can see their tyre wear while spectating? There isn't. It's just kind of like looking at the marks on the wheel itself, isn't it, Sergio?
Yes. You'll start to see little bits flaking, as they call it, when tires spin around really quick. You'll just see little bits sticking up, and you'll see visual wear and tear damage on it. Like, it looks like small craters and holes and stuff. So you'll see them form as the race goes on. And I mean, just looking at the Kick Sauber car of Don Parry at the minute, I can see it on both fronts. And looking at the rears, I can see it on the rears as well. Basically, it looks like raindrops as the tyres are spinning, but random little black dots and stuff. You can see that as the tyres.
Absolutely on Chizzy's wheels now. You can absolutely see it, especially when they're slowing down a bit more.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, mate, I don't know. I don't know about this, because at this point, you are kind of in like a do or die. At this point, it's you have to carry on now. For me, have they gone past the point of where they can pit? Can they still pit and do well? Are they going to have to just, you know, go with what they've got? What happens here? Neddy there retiring in the pits. His race is done tonight. No flag, no crash out. But yeah, back to that question for you, Sergio. Do you have to just carry on now and pray you don't puncture?
I would say you do, yes. But I think that all depends on what happens to the AI here of Neddy. The reason being is because this game is notorious for it. When you retire and you're in the pits or whatever, the AI, for whatever reason, drives the car out of the pits. So it'd be interesting to see if that happens. And actually, yes, it looks like that is going to happen. Neddy is coming out of the pits as a retiree. So the question is where is that car going to stop and retire completely? Because I think that's done it at the pit entrance. So that's okay. I was thinking we might well see a last-minute safety car here, because if that car was to resume back on track and then pull off, they're on a straight line where DRS is active, which means it's not a safe place, therefore leading to a safety car. But luckily, he stopped before he left the pits.
Oh, I mean, what these lot would give right now for a safety car, eh? What they would give their firstborn up for it. But 4 laps to go. At this point, it's not about being the fastest driver. It's about being the safest driver, though, Sergio, isn't it?
Yeah. You want to make sure you're getting across the line.
Oh, hang on. Breaking news there. Louis Welch has just pitted. 3 laps to go. 25-lap-old hards. Louis Welch has pitted. He's got a 26-second lead. And there you go. He's booking it on the softs here. He's not really lost a single inch. He knows how kind of far ahead he is. He has that gap to play with. But there you go. Welch not risking it any longer, Sergio. He comes out on softs here, and now we've got the fresh softs of Louis against the 8-lap-old hards of Kieran, and that gap of 27 seconds has been cut down to 5. Do you like Kieran's chances?
They're up there, but against a brand new set of softs compared to your 8-lap-old hards. No, I don't think it's close enough. Unfortunately, I think that is going to be all she wrote for their battle. The new softs, even though they do deteriorate quickly, they are still the quickest tyre on this game. They are unbelievable with their pace. You can push them quite hard, but they do fall off extra quick. So it's not one, unfortunately, that's worked in Kieran's favour there, but it's the end of the race, so now you just got to focus on bringing it home. Someone that unfortunately that hasn't worked out for, by the way, is Dirty Hippo facing the wrong way
Oh,
after a
dear.
spin up there on hard tyres. So 6-second penalty and at the back of the grid now. Not an ideal situation.
Gutted for Marcel. I mean, a side question on Louis Welch, by the way. Has he played a blinder here? Has he baited this entire grid? Has he said, look at me, I'm on 25 lap old hards. You think I'm going to pit? You're absolutely wrong. Has he kept the likes of Tiller, Chizzy, and so forth and so forth out on the grid on a bit of a false pretense? Do you think he's worked a bit of genius tonight?
I think he has, and I think his sheer pace is a big thanks to that as well. Pulling that sort of gap ahead and a big enough gap that you can do a full pit stop and still come out in the same position. I mean that thing only tends to really happen if you're playing your career mode on easy. You don't normally see that. So to be able to do that in a grid that, like we were saying earlier, is packing a punch in terms of the ability and the power.
Yeah.
That top half of the field especially. That's a really impressive feat to do, and especially over the names like VRO Kieran, your Chizzy, your Jamsy, your Tiller, all those guys, that to do that over the top of them, that's just damn right disrespectful, to be honest. But
yeah,
it is. It's incredible work from Louis.
Well, I'll tell you this much. There could still be a twist and a turn coming here, because Tiller and Chizzy, 2 laps to go, 26 lap old hards, may well either lose more position here, or they may still have a puncture, and that would be a nightmare scenario. I mean, looking at this situation, there were 2 laps to go tonight. Who are the big winners for you, Sergio? I mean, I've liked how Michael's raced. It looks like he's going to be comfortably in the points. I think one of the big losers tonight, Chizzy and Shadow's Gunner. It's been a night for the minnows, hasn't it?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think Chizzy and Gunner, I think this is one to forget for them. I think Don Parry, unfortunate with how this race has unfolded, not gone their way. But I wouldn't say it's been a terrible race. It's just been a mediocre. But I'd say it's a big win here for Kieran. Points being taken away massively there as well, seeing as Chizzy is just retired. So
you do not see that often, do you?
No, this is now huge. I think the biggest win now has to go to VRL Kieran. Even though he's not going to win the race, that's really big in terms of the battles in the points. So
that is a shock to see Chizzy almost kind of mentally tap out and say, "That's it. That's me, done for today." We have never seen that happen from last season's winner. And again, I emphasize this point. Chizzy, Tiller, they've not had an opening 3 races to remember. It's been a very, very difficult and tricky one for them. Of course, Louis Welch coming back in tonight hasn't helped them, but I mean, listen, I'll tell you this much. Kieran's going to be buzzing. He's going to be won last week, 2nd place this week. Louis Welch isn't going to catch him on points because this is Louis' first and more than likely only race. The other one as well to kind of look at here, Sergio, with, kind of praise, is maybe Jamsy or not so much. Of course, he's got a 3-second penalty this bench warmer, so it doesn't look like he's going to be able to kind of cut that down. But again, in a grid this stacked tonight, getting potentially 4th position, not bad from him either.
No, not bad at all. Big results there, really, for the top 5. Really, well, top 6, if you include Michael on that as well. Massive results there for all of them. I don't think Michael, unfortunately, is going to get that 6th place. I think that he's going to fall to Rye just from the penalty. But it's a good race overall from all of them, and top battles as well.
Yeah, I think Michael would have snatched your hand off for just being his other points. And again, for CB46, another one, great mental resilience tonight from him. Had such an issue at the beginning of the race with that first kind of penalty with the safety car, but he's battled back and showed brilliance. 8th position, but where is he going to finish is the question. Tonight, though, you can see there as the checkered flag starts to roll on our screens, Louis Welch wins here in Mexico. Kieran takes 2nd. Bench warmer, phenomenal performance from him. 3rd position. Jamsy crosses in 4th. Tiller on 28 lap old hards. I mean, that in itself deserves its own kind of mention and award. That is brilliant driving, brilliant racing. Tiller takes 5th position. Not his finest work, but he'll take it as Rye finishes above Michael after that penalty flag. Michael takes 7th place. He'll be happy. Shadow's Gunner finishing in the points as well. So important for the Ferrari. CB in the points with the Aston Martin in 9th position. I told you it was right there for it. Dom Parry takes the last point spot as well in 10th. So bench warmer today, the man that was carried and is carrying the Kick Sauber. A really, really weird night of racing, considering the names that usually do so well. But tonight, maybe their teammates have had to kind of pick up the slack a little bit, and that's why this sport is so great. Anything can happen on any given day, in any given continent, on any given track. And listen, a top performance tonight, no doubt, from everyone involved. I think Lucas there as just, I don't know if that was a DC or what happened, but I think Michael will probably count Lucas's finishing. I think he's crossed the line, so I'd imagine Lucas will keep 13th position, and it's not anything too sinister or serious there. There was no crash or anything, so one of those. But yeah, Louis Welch, man, that's what he does. He's the greatest of all time, bar none. Just a phenomenal driver. I think this guy isn't kind of in that kind of professional kind of realm of racer. He's not too far away from doing so. He is just world class. But yeah, a confusing and entertaining and an unpredictable, I think is the best word to describe it, race here tonight in Mexico, to say the very least. And again, a lot of big winners from usually lower down in the grid that have kind of performed at an excellent level here tonight. It only gets more fun next week, though, Sergio, because we're in Saudi Arabia. I know that's a kind of, Marmite-type track. Some love it, some hate it. I'm a big fan of it, but can we expect to see those kind of battles in Saudi, or do you expect it to be a much more different type of race?
So it's going to be a little more tricky than what it was here. Track is tighter, it's a street circuit, but it's still fast-paced, a very quick pace, and it's very easy to make a mistake and get a little wall tap in there, so there's a high risk of losing body parts as well, so could be a very entertaining one.
There you have it. Well, listen, a top couple of weeks ahead. I think the next 3 tracks in particular, I think I checked, I'm a big fan of. Saudi Arabia, Netherlands, and Texas. So I like them, man. I like them a lot. So should be fun. Should be fun as we continue to kind of ride around the world of racing. And I think, again, we finish in round 8 on Monaco. I think Michael is prepared for us to finish after 8 weeks, because I think that's when he expects the update to drop. So a smart decision there. I think a lot of people are buzzing for the update as well. But overall, anything to kind of end on here, Sergio, tonight? I mean, like I said, a confusing and unpredictable race, but those are the best types.
Yeah, 100% they are. Ones that you can't predict are the best ones, and that was a great showing overall from a lot of the people out there tonight, and a fairly clean-ish race. I mean, we had the 60-second nightmare, but I mean, apart from that, I don't really see many issues out there. It's fairly clean and pretty good racing overall. Absolutely.
Well, listen, no interviews tonight. We can let Sergio get to bed. We know he's absolutely shattered and knackered, but hell of a performance from Louis Welch, and I think for a lot of people they'll be saying, yeah, great job, Louis, but don't come back anytime soon. Fellas, you've been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for sticking with us for the entire hour and a half here tonight. And again, any issues or any incidents you want to report, please send them over to Michael. He can kind of handle them for you, get them in before the deadline comes in. For now, though, it's been me and Sergio, and Mexico has been a weird one, but a wonderful one. We'll see you next week, of course, in Saudi Arabia, same time every Monday, 9:30 p.m. Farewell, good night, and if you need us, drop us a DM. We're out. Laters.